Hey guys, and welcome back to Regretsit, Brexit Britain, a country who decided it was going to start banger racing. And Britain thought, I'm going to have the shiniest, newest car to go banger racing. Britain went and bought a brand new car to go banger racing. Instead of going down to the breaker's yard, they bought a brand new Porsche to go banger racing. Only a Brexiter could do something so stupid. And also, guys, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages you sent me, and a special thanks here to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all the messages and I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all the messages for definite. So look, we are I don't know if you've seen over the weekend, yeah, the devastation in the US, yeah, with the tornado. You know, some towns have been just completely destroyed. The destruction is unbelievable. You know, I've never seen anything like that. You know, other than in war or something like that. Obviously, we've had other, have other major disasters. We've had tsunamis. We've had, but obviously this was just a weekend just gone. So now, it's just complete. When I tell you, I saw one house, right? Well, you could say what was a house, right? All that was left was just a toilet. That's the only thing that was left standing in the house was the toilet, right? Because all the walls was gone, right? The roof was gone, right? There was just some toys and that scattered over where the floor, right? Because that's all that was left of this house was just the floor and the toilet. Do you know what I mean? And then when you just see thousands of houses was all in the same position. Do you know what I mean? When you look, like, I see some overhead pictures, yeah, and this was complete devastation. Do you know what I mean? And just 2 weeks before fucking Christmas as well. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Seriously, it really is. I really feel for those people. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, when I say that these people, now have nothing because everything from their house has gone, everything's gone. Do you know what I mean? And some of the houses, a lot of people must have been evacuated, but there's a lot of deaths as well. A lot of people have died. Do you know what I mean? They're talking about close on 100 people, might even be more than that. So a lot of people have died. Do you know what I mean? But when you see the devastation, you'll see why. Because this is one of nature's worst. Right, and it just shows you in it that that these guys, they don't really need to have the gun culture what they've got. Do you know what I mean? Because they have things like this happen to them all the time. Do you know what I mean? Remember Katrina and all these type of things. Do you know what I mean? So they do have all these things as well all the time. Do you know what I mean? So humans killing humans, when nature's ready, nature will just come and take as much of us as it wants. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I've always thought I don't understand the whole human killing human thing, because, like, nature's there, and whenever it wants, it will. If it wants to take 10,000 people, nature will do that. Do you know what I mean? So but when you see, and then I saw the Amazon factory. Right, the Amazon factory's been completely devastated as well. Just like, just torn to pieces. I know the roof was just completely blown off of that one. But the worst one was the candle factory. Right, the candle factory has been completely destroyed. Right, and I'm sure they've got a lot of people that haven't been accounted for from that building. Do you know what I mean? And when I say when you saw that what happened to that building, it's like the eye of the tornado had hit that building. Do you know what I mean? It's just like completely, just like devastated. It just ripped it to pieces. Do you know what I mean? And there was, I think there was over 100 people in there at the time. I'm sure, because obviously they're coming up to Christmas, isn't it? So candles is, it's a massive thing. It's a massive thing. Massive thing for religious thing. So a lot of people like to burn a candle at Christmas. So obviously it's one of their busiest times of the year as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like the devastation is just unbelievable. And we all just have to hope for the best, or if you pray, then pray for the best. Do you know what I mean? But we all have to do something for the just in our thoughts for these people, because this is like, it's just like, and just before Christmas, it's just totally just ripped their lives to pieces. But we'll go back to the UK. So 60% of voters think that Boris Johnson should resign. Because they think that's quite high, but I'm like, well, what the other 40%? What is going through the other 40%'s minds? What's going through their mind, the other 40%? I don't understand. Right? You know, are the other 40% all Boris Johnson supporters? Right? Because right now 100% should want him to resign. But you know, the problem I have with that, right, is the fact that Boris Johnson has done so much damage, right, and then he just gets to walk away. Do you know what I mean? This is the thing, right? And you know, people will say, well, when he took it up, it was a poison chalice, right? But it was only a poison chalice, right, if you continued down the line, right, of taking the country out of the EU. That was where the poison chalice bit come into it, because you know, you didn't need to actually do that. Right, because when you looked and saw what was going to happen, right, if you was a competent person, you'd look and see, you know something, it's not going to be good, right? Then you know what, you'd need to take on the other side. You need to take them on and say, listen, you know something, I can't do it. I can't do it because you know it's going to be too devastating to this country. And what about Ireland? Do you know what I'm saying? So this is the thing. But you know, you've got a lot of people, right, who think that Boris Johnson has done a good job, and this is, you know, this is very, very sad, because those people are going to look at Boris Johnson. If Boris Johnson gets to, if he gets to resign and just walk away, right, they're going to look and think, oh yeah, well, you see, Boris, he got Brexit done. And Brexit is nowhere near done. It's nowhere near done. But you know, the problem with a lot of these Brexiters, yeah, is they're too stupid to realise that. They're too stupid to realise that Brexit is nowhere near done. Do you know what I mean? And then if you look at what's happened to us from since Brexit, right, you'd have to say, well, oh my God, this is just terrible. Right? The rest of the world are laughing at us. Right. You know, France have told our interior minister, you can't come to a very important meeting that's about this country. You know what's going to be next? Bulgaria saying to us, well, you know what, you can't come to this meeting because you know we don't like your fish and chips. You know, it's just for what's happened to us, right, from since we've left, right, the EU, right. I think it's, what is it? It's something like, what is it? It's 10 to 15 billion lost in trade, and that's just in trade, right? They're not speaking about the Lugano or Horizon or anything like that yet. They're not speaking about anything like that yet. And there's a lot of other schemes. Do you know what I mean? That we've been locked out of. Right, that they haven't told us how much money we've lost because we've been locked out of those yet. Do you know what I mean? So you know, yeah, but the trade is what, over 12 billion lost so far. Do you know what I mean? You know, and that's just in the first year. So you can imagine, right, how much jobs that type of money will entail. Because remember, we've got to remember, yeah, that with these companies, right, the first thing they ever think about doing is losing staff members. That's the first thing they think about doing, right? You know, these guys will be like, well, you know, last year we put in 1.5 billion in profits, yeah, and this year we're putting in 400 million in profit, so we're going to get rid of staff. That's how these companies work. Do you know what I mean? Because you know that 400 million, right, has to go between like the shareholders and all that. Do you know what I mean? You know, the shareholders would prefer to have 1.5 billion amongst them rather than 400 million. You see, because there's a major difference in those two figures of what money you're gonna get. Right? You know, you're with a company that's taking 1.5 billion, right, as opposed to 400 million. Right, you can see, right, and the shareholders don't care. They're just like, well, you know what, just get rid of some staff, right? Well, you got, how much staff you got 800 staff. Yeah, cut that down to 600, right? Then our profits will be back up to 1.5 bill. You see, and that's how, do you know what I mean? So that's how them things does work. Do you know what I mean? So Boris Johnson, right, you know, the fact that, like, you know, that 60% of voters want him to resign, for me, do you know what I mean? I'm just like, you know what? Because I hear far too much people talk about how Boris, how he's got Brexit done. And that is the whole thing, right? When it comes down to anything, with Boris Johnson, right, that's the first thing you hear about these people. Oh, Boris got Brexit done, right? You see how it was like party central, right, up inside there, right? But all those people's arguments is, well, Boris, he got Brexit done, and that's the reason why you're picking on him about these parties. So, seriously, so it's our fault, right, that he, right, was having parties, even though even though everyone else was told, you know what, there's no party for you. Right? But it's our fault that he was having parties. Just think to yourself, seriously, these people, these Brexiters, they really need to get themselves some understanding. Do you know what I mean? Because most of them are just so fucking stupid. Do you know what I mean? And they will just start, for them it just doesn't matter. It just don't matter how bad things get in this country. For them, it just does not matter. They just do not care. Do you know what I mean? They just say, well, he got Brexit done. Wow, seriously. But that's the reason, right? And then anybody who takes over from Boris now, right? And I've heard a lot of names being mentioned in Liz Truss. Seriously, you think to yourself, oh my God, are you serious? Right? Liz Truss, you think, please don't do. But you see, after Boris Johnson, right? I'm telling you, nothing's impossible, because I never ever thought that Boris Johnson could ever become the leader of the Tory party, especially to take over the premiership as well. Do you know what I mean? I never ever, because for me, Boris Johnson has always been a joke figure. That's what he's always been. Do you know what I mean? So anytime there was mention of Boris Johnson going to be like the leader of the Tory party, one day Prime Minister, I was like, shit, yeah, whatever. The people of this country, right, are not that stupid. I was wrong. Right? I was really wrong. Do you know something, right? I was so fucking wrong, right? My foot must have been in my mouth. Right, when I was saying there's no way that the people of this country would put an absolute klutz, a clown, a buffoon, right, in charge of this country to represent us. The man's a knucklehead clown, according to Macron. Right? But I said there's no way that people would put that man in charge of this country to run this. Right? And I'm telling you, right, I was so wrong. I was so wrong. So wrong. Right. So look, last night Boris Johnson announced that we're going to have the big announcement, but pre-recorded, because you know what, he didn't want to answer no questions, because he knew most of them would probably just be about the parties, right? So, but he wanted to make an announcement to say, you know what, the Omicron virus is like it's gonna sweep through the country. Do you know what I mean? And they're looking to get like 1 million jabs in arms, like the booster, a day. Do you know what I mean? So but thing is, right, I don't know if you understand how big that number is, but it's a lot, right? Because so far the most they've ever done in one day was 800 and something thousand, right? And obviously that was a build up to obviously to that big day. Do you know what I mean? Where they're going to go to that type of number. So I think that's only happened 1 or maybe 2 days. 800,000, right? So on a normal basis, I think it's like about 420,000 or something like that. So you see, another big announcement, right, takes all of like your whole Partygate and all them things there and all the lies off the front pages, because now there's this massive figure. They're looking at, hold on, whoa, 1 million a day, whoa, right? So it's basically Boris Johnson just saying, you know what, I need to get this shit away from the headlines. You know what I mean? And if I can announce all of this, right, just in a pre-recorded statement, right, then I don't get questions from the press. When really, if he was going to make whatever announcements he should have done, he should have really done it in the House of Parliament today, and then just make an announcement on the TV tonight, right, where he can take questions from reporters, right? But no, 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 right? You know, Boris Johnson, right? Who should, you know, whose Russian name, right, should dictate to us. Actually, the man wants to live like he's living in Russia, right? He wants to shut the press down, right? And this good because this is how Putin would probably announce something like this. Do you know what I mean? So really, you know, Boris Putin, right, announcing this last night, right? This should have been done in front of the world's press to say, so that they could ask him proper questions about the Omicron. You know, how much he knows, how much the scientists know about this particular strain of the virus. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know, but from what we're getting so far, I don't know how many people. I don't know if there's many people around the world that have actually died from this strain. Right, so from what I've heard, I'm not sure. I'm not a scientist, right? I'm not Donald Trump. I'm not a scientist, right? So I don't know, right? But from what I've heard, right, this one's just much more like a heavy cold. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not sure whether or not understand that the rush on over this particular virus. Do you know what I mean? When we've had variants that are a lot worse. Do you know what I mean? The Delta and the original is much worse than this one. But I don't know because I'm just going on what I've heard on the radio. I am not a doctor. I should be, but I'm not. Right? Anyway, so look. So now we've got parties in the education department, the health department, and the chancellor's department. Right? As I said, it was just all parties central up in there. They was all at it. Right? It's not just in 10 Downing Street. All the different departments was having their parties and all these things there, right? So this just shows you that the police knew. The police knew exactly what was going on and all these things. Do you know what I mean? Right? But these guys are just like, well, because they were, they was going to try and come over. They was going to try and come over. Well, these buildings are on Crown land, right? So they're not. So normal laws do not apply, but they knew they couldn't come out with that one because if they was going to try that, Trust me, they was going to try that, right? But they knew that would just be so now they're just like, well, some of them have said, well, we're really sorry that this has happened. I mean, Sean Bailey, we was keeping a party up in there, somewhere up in there, right? But his one turned very, very rowdy, and doors and windows was broken. Listen, you know something, yeah? It's not a party unless there's damage at the end of the night. Right? That's what the truth is, right? So as I said, right, they was all of them. Right. So it's not just, it's just it just shows you, doesn't it? Right. So they all knew what was going on. Right. Some of them have come out and started defending people. Right. Obviously their departments has been having parties. Obviously, because Gavin Williamson, he was the minister then, innit? So so Gavin Williamson, obviously he party central, and obviously Therese Coffee, because wherever Therese is, the party is wherever Therese is. The party don't start till Therese Coffee turn up. Let me tell you that, right? So all her department and all these people was having parties. You know what I mean? While they were saying to us, you know what I mean? You must stay locked down, right? Don't move out your house. Keep your ass where it is. Work from home. But now, for today's message is work from home but party at work. Only Great Britain, Brexit Britain, could have shit like that. That's why this motherfucker regrets it. Alright. Anyway, let's speak about some Brexit. Because I saw some expats in Spain, right, speaking about how Brexit has completely devastated their lives living in Spain. Right. They're having a really, really hard time of it. And a lot of the Brits who live in Spain, are now claiming, I didn't vote to leave, I voted to remain. Even though, right, a lot of them are on camera, right? Saying, oh yeah, thought you'd leave, wanted to leave. Yeah, best thing for us was to leave. I think leave and start again. Leave and start again. That's the best thing for us. Reset my fucking ass. Right? You just have, it's like saying to like a 60 or 70-year-old, tell you what we're going to do. Right? I'm going to reset you. Start again. Not your age, right? Just your financial status. Right? We're going to put you back down to when you was 16 years old, and then you start from there again. Yeah. That means your house. That means you have to go back, right, to go and live in. You have to live in a bedsit probably. So that's what you do, right? So that's what Brexit is, right? Or, it's like what happened to Sir Lewis yesterday. What happened to Sir Lewis, right? There's an analogy, right, to what happened to Lewis Hamilton yesterday, and it's like you're in a football match, you're winning 2-0, right, and there is like the game has to be stopped for some reason. And say the game would get stopped for 15 minutes, which is a very long time in football terms. That means there's been a serious incident, right? So the game gets stopped for 15 minutes, and then the referee's just like, you know what? Best thing what we're going to do, right? We've got there was only like 60 seconds to go on the in the game, right? So what we'll do is when we restart, next goal wins. Right? So the next person to score wins, even though you've got a 2-0 advantage. Right? And that's what happened to Lewis Hamilton yesterday. Do you know what I mean? Just devastating. Do you know what I mean? That's what Brexit is. Devastating. Right? So, so as I said, the expats living in Spain, do you know what I mean? Having a really, really hard time. And then we had the Swindon farmers, right, staged a protest where they had a drive through the town centre on Saturday, right? Just so typically British. So go and drive past the Tory HQ, right, while nobody's there on a Saturday. What happened to spreading fucking manure all over the building? Doing something. I mean, you're just driving your tractors up and down because they're just looking for themselves. That's a protest. You damn right. You're right to lose your motherfucking farms because you're Egypts. Right? So they're right to lose their farms because they're stupid. That's why they're losing their farms, because they've got no sense and they voted for something, right, what was going to be devastating to their own cause. This, my friends, is By Any Means Necessary. I'm the MC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.